Yeah, welcome back to another week of Let's Discuss with Meg Duke. I am so excited to be here with you all. Gonna probably be a short one today. I have a number of amazing guests lined up ahead of us. This week it's just me, and I had a couple of things that I've been thinking about that I just wanted to share quickly during this week, and then also, I don't know, some validations, some recurring themes that seem to be coming up in discussions I'm having with colleagues, with clients, certainly. I've been lucky enough to be able to participate in a training and also provide a training, um, and some recurring themes. Yeah, so that's this week. I'm really excited. Next week is Halloween. We have our Halloween costumes ready. We were able to do that ahead of time, so my stress level for that is lower. I ordered them some buckets off Etsy. Not necessary, but I wanted them. So got all that. Gonna be really cute. My son is very excited for his. My daughter doesn't still know what's going on really, but no, but she's really cute. I think she'll have fun. I was able to enjoy myself in Cabo for a friend's wedding. One of my previous friends of the pod, one of our guests on the show, got to stay with another fellow mom, which was really nice to just kind of relax and see all of our friends, celebrate our friend's wedding. I took an Ambien one night and actually got to sleep. It was amazing. My body literally didn't know what to do with itself. I woke up at 5:45 Cabo time because I had had 8 hours of sleep, and my body was like, "What? I what am I supposed to do with this?" But it was amazing. So I got up and read and took a shower, called my kids, not in that order. So that was really lovely. I did come home from Cabo sick, not COVID, thankfully. But I don't know if I got RSV and gave it to my daughter or she had RSV. So she was home last week, 2 days. My son is home today with something. I don't think it's RSV. Again, we've got him medicated. So he's doing well. But yeah, had that fever anyway. So all of this is where I'm going, though, talking about trying to keep things together, giving myself grace, not being too upset with myself for having gotten my kids sick, all the things. So I was in a training with Mika Centimano and Kara Shellman, we've discussed them before on this show. You have heard their names, but Mika is my mentor here in Kansas City. She is widely considered, and I'm sure she hates this, but here we are, the godmother of perinatal mental health here in Kansas City. She knows Karen Kleiman, who is regarded as the foremost expert in perinatal mental health, coined the expression of postpartum depression. So really, she does a lot of great work out in Philadelphia. I did her training back in June virtually because I didn't get to go to Philadelphia, but that was okay. And we were talking about in that group, and then I also did a training with Your Pregnancy Having. I had Jen on from Australia a couple weeks ago, and she asked me, following our conversation, if I would come and talk to some people in her Your Pregnancy Haven group, which I was delighted to do. And that group meets with people who are, it consists of people who are pregnant after a pregnancy crisis, fertility struggles, loss, all of that. And Mika brought it up. I had been giving her credit, so I apologize. I think it was actually Jennifer Barnes who was talking about Nora Roberts, but Mika talked about Jennifer, who talked about Nora. Anyway, about balls, right? And the quote is, "Some of the balls you have in the air are made of plastic and some are made of glass. If you drop a plastic ball, it bounces, no harm done. If you drop a glass ball, it shatters. So you have to know which balls are glass and which are plastic and prioritizing catching the glass ones." So like Halloween costumes, for you, that might be a glass ball. For me, it might not be, right? I don't know. You decide. These are very individualized. I'm not going to sit here and say what should and should not. I mean, obviously, health, safety, shelter, food, water, clothing, hygiene, right? Like we have to make sure that our children are safe, of course. So yeah, so those would be glass balls to varying degrees of, again, I'm not placing any judgments here. It's not my place to have an opinion, but everything else is up to you to decide. I remember I was very upset with myself a couple weeks ago because the week before I had gotten a picture of my son and he was squeezing on this little teddy bear in his chair during circle time, because every way of the week they get a new letter, and then on Friday circle time they bring something for show and tell that either starts or ends with that letter. And he brought his Dr. Basketball, which was from his birthday bear from Build-A-Bear. And he was so excited. And it's the cutest picture of him just squeezing it. You can tell he's so proud of it. And he's so excited to share with his friends. And then the next week, I fully forgot circle time. To be fair, if I may, when I went to Mexico, I got kicked out of our app that our Montessori school uses, and I couldn't get back in for the rest of the week. And I didn't get the alert because I didn't get the messages, but I'm just making excuses. And also, no one died. And that is definitely not a glass ball. Even his teacher was like, it's fine. We found something else from you from the room. It was fine. But for me, I was like, oh, but it wasn't special for him. It wasn't meaningful like Dr. Basketball. So, right? What is glass and what is plastic? Because I think sometimes we recognize we view things as everything is glass. Everything is important. Every moment is a moment, an opportunity for learning, an opportunity for sharing, for connection, for brain rewiring, for attachment, everything. And while that certainly could be the case, it's not always the case. And I think we don't give ourselves enough. I know, I should stop saying I know we do not give ourselves enough grace. And so I wanted to encourage you to take some time and be intentional about it. Do a journal, do a bullet point, put it in your phone notes, but really sit and think, what is glass and what is plastic? What is the Dr. Basketball or whatever the next, I think the next letter was F. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Is circle time letter finding? Is that a glass ball for some people? It has to not be for me. I still think about it. I'm obviously still talking about it weeks later, but it has to be. It has to be something where I'm like, you know what? It's fine. We'll do it again next week. What are the things for you that you might be able to ask your partner or a loved one in your life who has offered to help, to be able to help? I know that's another thing we talk about, like asking people for help. Like, who am I asking? Who are these people who are not also overwhelmed with how they're feeling? Fair enough. Not everyone has the bandwidth to help. Recognizing some gatekeeping that you might be doing, though, especially if you're a primary parent. What are some things that maybe somebody else could be doing in your life that you have that mindset of like, I need to do it myself. It has to be perfect. It has to be done. Is that a glass ball that really has to be done and can only be done by you? Or is that a glass ball that somebody else might be able to handle just fine? Or is it a plastic ball that if it doesn't get done exactly how you want it, that's going to be annoying for you? And that's a good opportunity for you to practice some distress tolerance. Maybe. Something to consider, but we do gatekeep. I don't feel like I'm as bad as well, I shouldn't say bad, that's a judgment. I'm not as into gatekeeping as I once was, but I do definitely recognize sometimes in the past with my husband where I've been like, I have to do this. He just can't do it. And it's like, really, I'm just adding extra stress to my life. And so when you block people out and say that and whether you display or verbalize to them one way or the other, implicit or explicit, that they are not capable, that's makes them less interested in helping or less likely to offer. And that's just us setting ourselves up for more failure, right? Something else too that we talked about, and I've downloaded the book and started reading it on my plane trip, was Mother Brain by Chelsea Conaboy, How Neuroscience is Rewriting the Story of Parenthood, is really understanding sometimes our limitations are genuinely, it's not because you're lazy, it's not because you're inattentive, it's not because you have ADHD or whatever, which if you are inattentive or distractible, that doesn't mean you have ADHD. You might have ADHD and that is some of your symptoms, but sometimes parents just get distracted. Our brains are functioning in different ways. And especially if you carried that baby in your uterus, your brain rewires. Literally, there is neuroscience behind it. It is not just like, mom brain. Like, no, you've literally had neuroscience at work in this situation. So something to keep in mind there. I've actually asked Chelsea Conaboy if she'll come on my show. We'll see. I haven't heard back yet, but I just asked her actually before I started recording. So if I'd have heard back already, it would have been impressive. So fingers crossed, because I would love for her to come on and give us some more information about that, and not just as an excuse, but as an understanding of how things are in our functioning now as parents, moving forward. So that was another thing. I wanted to say rest is productive. I can't say it enough, you all. Rest is productive. And I was really excited when I was in Cabo because I teach a class at the University of Kansas and I'm exhausted a lot. And so I make time to read. I do love to sew. If you're on my Instagram, you'll see I like to post some projects and stuff. And I do find that to be therapeutic for me. And I also believe that rest can be very productive. So I decided I was going to read a novel that had nothing to do with mental health. It was fiction. It had nothing to do with clinical anything, with parenthood, nothing. And I read it in an entire, I literally, actually, I'll say, I started it a year ago, October 21st of 2021. I still had the receipt in the book. I read 14 pages of it. And then I picked it up again when I was in Cabo in October of 2022 and read the rest of the book in a day. It was such a good feeling. Not that you have to read a whole book in a day, but it was a page turner. So it was good. And it was nice. I really was, that sounds really cheesy, but I was really proud of myself for making the time, because I'm so often thinking, what else can I be doing? I should be doing more. I need to build my practice. I need to be making more people. I need to be making more reels. I need to be finding more podcast guests, whatever it may be. And, rest is productive. I'm just gonna keep saying rest is productive. Absolutely. So we got to work about giving ourselves grace, not stressing out, not thinking, my kids right now are both in a lower eating stage. My daughter's in leap 10. If you follow Wonder Weeks, y'all send some wine and some prayers, because she blows hot and cold. I love leap 10. So I'm like, oh, they're not eating enough, which means they're not going to grow, which means I'm malnourishing them and catastrophizing, right? So that's not the case. They will eat if they're hungry. When they're hungry, they're going to be taken care of. We're doing the best we can over here. I just want to encourage everybody to be in that space. Give yourself grace. Are the balls plastic or are the balls glass? And be really intentional about deciding what that is. What does that mean for you specifically in your parenting journey only? So be curious, not judgmental. Goodbye.